Hi, my name is Tristan Knowlton, and I'm going to talk about my final project for this class. What I'm basically did was I'm using multiple technologies to create web applications that show you maps of interesting data from publicly available data sets. So what I did for the first map was I got a layer of countries that was publicly available. So I'm using ArcGIS, which is geographic information mapping software that is pretty ubiquitous. Um, got a shapefile for countries. Shapefile is a format used in ArcGIS to show spatial data. Um, then I got a temperature anomaly layer. Um, and what that is it's showing climate data throughout from 1880, and it's showing temperature anomalies, which are the amount that a temperature is above or below normal. In this case, they're counting it above average for the 19th century. So to get the data, I went to NASA's GIS temp uh, service, and they have a gridded data set. Gridded is it's a way they talk about geographic data, meaning it's already put into a grid and can be mapped fairly easily. Um, it comes it came in a netcdf file, which is a data format that's used by scientists. It's very portable. Um, to get this data into ArcGIS, I had to use a geoprocessing tool in ArcGIS, make netcdf raster layer, and basically you just input the netcdf file. The netcdf file will have your x dimension, y dimension, and click OK, and then you get your data into the ArcGIS software. Now, the interesting thing that I wanted to look at is a feature in ArcGIS that allows you to show data sets over time, and basically, therefore, lets you show mapping over time. To show that, you right click on your layer, click to enable time on the layer, and the layer has to have a time field, which this one does. And we pick our field format, date and time step interval. I did 1 year, and so on. And what you can see is, click this time slider option. You can see these temperature anomalies over time, which is pretty interesting. As time goes on, you get less blue, which represents lower temperature anomalies, so below normal temperatures, and you get more oranges and reds, which are above normal. So you see, the effects of climate change going on. So this is interesting, but how do I get this to an audience, and so people can interact with this map themselves? Well, you have to upload the data to an ArcGIS server, which I have already done. Basically, share each layer as a map service. I'm not going to go through all of this because it's cumbersome, but basically you need an ArcGIS server. In this case, I have access to an ArcGIS enterprise server. Upload the data onto there, and then I go to ArcGIS Online. You have to create a web map, which I did, and you import the layers from your ArcGIS server into this map, which I did. Once you've done that, I set up a web mapping application using the web app builder for ArcGIS, which I'll show you how that works in a second. You basically start out with a map, which I created that map previously that I just showed you, the climate change map. Choose the web map. There it is, the climate change map. And then you set up your widgets. In this case, I just have a couple widgets, most important one being the time slider widget, which basically replicates the functionality that I showed you in the ArcGIS software online. So, boom, I'm going to show you the data, how it looks online. You can see it looks pretty much just how I had it in ArcGIS, and because I shared it online, here's how it looks without the web app builder. Because I showed it to you online, or shared it online, anyone can look at this now remotely. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I did this with a couple other data sets that are also publicly available. Similar process. I did a web application for global inequality based on the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient basically is a scale from 0 to 100, where 0 means that 0 means that everyone in a country has exactly the same amount of wealth. 100 means that everyone in the country has, or only one person in the country has all the wealth of that country. Now this doesn't show a lot of data for different countries, probably because they didn't collect it at the time, but I set it up so that it updates the data as time goes on based on new Gini coefficient data coming in. So this is pretty neat. Reds represent higher Gini and therefore more income inequality. Greens represent lower inequality. You can see that Europe is generally pretty good. The US is okay. Africa, South America, very high levels of wealth inequality. So yeah, that's another interesting thing. And then the other web application I have shows a map of wildfires in the USA Great Basin region, which is around Nevada area. I also, once again, implemented the time slider. You can see wildfires where they occurred in different years, which is pretty interesting. They show up in red on this map. You can see, you can see which years, we're having a lot of wildfires. And it's pretty cool how you can manage the technology from ArcGIS with the internet, with a server operating in the background, and you can get these pretty slick looking maps to map interesting data And this is all publicly available data too, so everyone can be their own sort of scientist. And that's my project. As I mentioned, I got the GIS data from this NASA page. I got this Gini coefficient data from the Standardized World Income Inequality Database from Harvard Dataverse. And I got the wildfire data from the U.S. Department of Interior. Yeah, it's a very interesting process. To get the Gini coefficient by country, I had to join the data in the Gini coefficient table that I got from Harvard Dataverse to the countries in the country layer I had. And then using ArcGIS, I can shade the countries in different categories based on their Gini coefficient. So that's how I did that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The wildfire data came in a shapefile, so that was easy to import to ArcGIS. Yeah, I just think these maps are very interesting. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.